there is a screen. Right there, the white box. You now know everything I know about that screen. Okay. There is one, it's there. All right. Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Does anybody have any questions?
I'm good.
All right, let's walk over here. All right, on the wall here, there are three important things. This is the control panel for, well, this is the junction panel for your stage hoist. The front set of lights out over the seats raises and lowers electrically so that you can get to them and adjust them. We'll talk a little more about that in just a minute, but that gray box on the floor is the controller for it. It runs with this cable, which plugs in here and here and on the side of the box, and I'm going to loop back to that in a little more detail in just a minute. And then this is an equipment rack that I would call the stage manager's panel. This rack has a lock on the back side and a lock on the front side, which are two different keys. Maddox Electric has the keys, when I leave here today, this will be locked, and then once you guys, okay, well you have them then. Okay, Maddox Electric has the keys, you have the keys. Okay, here's the good news and the bad news. The good news is every key to the front of the Middle Atlantic rack, which is the company that made this empty rack, is the same. Every key to the back door is the same. You'll notice those keys, the number on them, it'll say have a number and then it says FD and a number that says RD.
FD, I see. Okay,
FD is front door, RD is rear door. So the good news is if you lose your key or something happens to it, you know, I've got one in my pocket. Pretty much you can get them lots of different places. So you're
FD or an RD.
Yeah. So you're not locked out. The bad news is potentially anybody that has one of those keys, if they just really want to be mean, can get in this and mess with it. So it's not real high-tech secure. But mostly locks are to keep honest people out, to keep nosy people out, and so the trade-off for the convenience of, oh, if I lose this key, I'm in big trouble, is a pretty good trade-off. And what it also means is that if for some reason I have to come out and service this equipment, I don't have to track you down and say, where's the key? It also means you don't have to like leave the key hanging here somewhere. So I'm going to just let you take a quick look at the magic behind the scenes. This is all the cabling that goes out to the control booth, to the button stations. Electricity runs in here. There's a UPS in the bottom. Does everybody know what a UPS is? Uninterruptible power supply?
Hey, one
question. You do know what it means. Okay. You know what it means. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman. Man, I'm glad I didn't remember yesterday this was going to be videotaped because I would have been up all night, like wondering what to wear.
That's why I didn't tell you.
Okay, so mostly except, okay, the little sticker that says no use of serviceable parts inside, yeah, that pretty much applies to this. And really applies to an awful lot of what's here, except that I may call you, you know, if we talk, I may say, well, can you look at this piece of equipment and sort of tell me what it says. So this is the UPS at the bottom. Power comes into here. It has batteries in it. If there's a power glitch or whatever, it powers all of this equipment and it will keep it running probably a half hour or so. I didn't actually do a load test. But so it's not going to keep it running if there's a massive outage, but if there's just a little glitch or whatever, the equipment is going to just stay on and be happy. Okay. So it's mainly to protect the equipment. It's not really designed to, you know, get you through a hurricane. This next box up, and there won't be a test on this. This is called a gateway or a node. The lighting that's in the theater both the house lights and the stage lights run on a theatrical protocol called DMX, which stands for Digital Multiplex. Most modern lights, particularly LED lights, they want power and they want a control signal, and then they take care of their own dimming, their own color changing, and that's all internal. This building also has a different protocol, and the name of it is SACN, Streaming Architectural Control Network. There won't be a test on that either. But basically that is, it's its own network. If any of you guys or IT guys, this system has its own little network. There's an Ethernet switch here, a patch bay here, and then so from the console, there's actually a Cat5 cable plugged in, and it comes down here, goes into the switch, goes through, comes out to this box, and it gets converted to DMX, to the protocol that the lighting understands. And then this box up here is a DMX splitter, which takes that DMX that comes out of the gateway and sends one cable up there, one cable up there, one cable up there, one cable to your front lights, and one out right here. So if you bring additional lighting in for a show, if you want floor lights, if you want to do some, if a student concert's going on and they go somewhere and rent some moving lights because they just think that would be cool, your console absolutely has the horsepower to control whatever you want to bring in here, and you just plug it in here to get the signal out. If for some reason you're trying, oh, I know you never do this, but let's say you were trying to do 8 things at once, and so you're getting kids on and off stage, you're moving scenery, and oh, by the way, your light board operator's sick and you have to run lights too. Well, you don't want to run from up there to down here. You can set up a table right here and plug your light board in right there. So this is a network jack, but this is not to connect your computer to the school's Ethernet system. This is not connected to the school's Ethernet system, and if you plug into it with your computer, it will only annoy the pig. Not really probably going to burn anything up, but it will make both your computer and the lighting system confused, like me. Okay, so that's what's here.
Do we have a panel for that?
It's up in the light booth. Yes, exactly. And we're going to go see that in a minute. All right, other questions?
What are the numbers flipping on the bottom?
This tells the status of the UPS, so that's 123 volts. It's currently drawing 4% of the possible load that it can draw. So if you kind of read right here, it will show, so there's the input voltage, the output voltage. It will run, it says at this load it'll run 175 minutes. So a couple of hours and then some. If the meter is accurate, and it's probably running, there's not going to be any more load on it than there's on it right now. So that's just a status indicator. If everything quits working and you look at this and you see nothing's lit up there, the first thing that you would try to do is push this power switch that's right here and see if you can get it to come back on. Because all the power for everything in this rack comes into here and out of here.
What's the different switches?
That is where you dim your house lights if you don't want to go up to the booth. So we've gotten really to here, and I'll just tell you this is an RS-232 port, which is something I would use when I'm working on and programming the system. It's something that anybody that comes to service this system will be really happy is here, and you will never ever need it. You may occasionally see red lights or green lights flashing on that. Yes, that's normal. Sometimes you may see nothing happening there. Yes, that's normal too. All right, so this is just like those stations over there, but instead of number 1 and number 2, this has 1 through 6, and it has a button that says manual. So again, trying to keep with the theme, on those panels there, The top button is on, the bottom button is off. So there where number 2 is off, here number 6 is off. So, and then this button says manual. So that's not really the bottom button. Number 6 is what I would call the bottom button. So would you please turn the house lights off?
Not exactly.
Hit number 6.
Number 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you do that, 2 things have happened. House lights went off, but number 6 turned amber and all the other ones are blue. Amber means I'm active. Blue means, no, I'm just kind of, I'm here, but I'm not doing anything.
Controlling the shaft light?
And when you pushed the number 6 here, on all the other stations, the other 3 stations that are out here, the number 2 lit up amber because that's off,
You can see that.
and what's happening right now is off.
It's enough that I do, see that in the room.
But nobody can turn them on now.
Well, they can.
Yeah, they can.
That's enough.
Yeah, they're not locked out.
Okay.
And so there's 2 schools of thought. One is, when I take control from here or from the booth, I want to lock those out so some student can't mess with them. Okay. If you want a student not to mess with them, the easiest way to have a student not mess with them is to have this gentleman here say, yeah, don't do that. That's much easier than locking it out, because if you're in the auditorium and it's a dark room and there is some scenario that might want you to get everyone to leave the auditorium quickly, what needs to happen is an adult goes to any one of those 3 stations and hits 1 and turns the lights off. If you have disabled the ability to use those and you have to run lights from either here or the booth, that complicates things a little. All right, having said all that, yes, I may have presented a bias in my presentation. I can arrange so that one of these buttons, when it presses, locks those other stations out. If that's what you want me to do, I will do that. So let me know. But for now, they're not locked out. Little quick sidebar, and then I'll go on because I know your time is valuable, but occasionally we install lights in gymnatoriums or gymnasiums, and I have a lot of people that say, well, we need to put some kind of cage around these lights. How are we going to protect them from basketballs? And my answer is, the easiest way to protect these lights from a basketball is to post signs that are clearly readable that say, if under any circumstances your basketball hits those lights, you will be asked to leave the building until the next day. And explain to everybody, I don't care if you're practicing, I don't care if you're in a ball game, I don't care if you're horsing around, I don't care if it was an accident, this is the rule. Well, those kind of rules applies to these button stations too. And it should now be obvious why I am not a school principal.
It's a little more complicated than that.
Yes, I understand. And that's the reason that I say, as you get into using the system, if you see changes that you think you really made, I'll just say right now, I'll give you a trip down here. And even if you want to think about it for the next few days, at some point I'm going to be coming to install the stage edge lighting once the insert is done and the edge lighting is all here. When I do that, okay, sorry, let's go back up here. So when you hit this manual button, it lights up and it says manual. This first fader here is a master fader. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right now, there's only anything controllable on number 1 because sort of this is how the station comes. But would you please slide up number 1? Just slide it up nice and slowly. And you can stop right there. Now that is your house lights at not full. And then slide it the rest of the way up. Okay. Yes, sir.
So even on the manual, you can control about that.
Well, manual, yes. If this is on manual and you hit one of those, so let's say this is on manual at 25%. If you walk up to one of those stations and hit number 1, that's what happens.
Okay.
So it now is no longer in manual, and now number 1 is in charge. If you want to go back to that preset 25% level, you hit manual, and what happens when